Wonder if I'll find a dead body buried in a barrel somewhere. Well, Charlotte didn't backdoor cover. Nevada covered, so my gut, fading my gut because I wanted New Mexico State, won there. North Texas covered, so I'm 3-3. It all comes down to the Hawaii game just like 3 years ago. That 63 is not a good number. Ugh. So I officially went 3-4 on week 0, and I start the trip off down. Oh, it's 5:09. I slept about 10 hours, not bad. It is still dark out there. By the way, when I was checking in last night, they told me the balcony was closed, which is fine. I hate going out there. It makes me want to throw up. I'm not a big fan of heights. All right, 160.1. That's down 1.6 pounds from yesterday. I feel like taking a nice warm bath in that jacuzzi will help my joints. Oh, there we go. It's hot. Might be too hot. Well, it got as high as 107. The hot tub I use at Lifetime says don't get in if it's higher than 104, so I might need to cool it down a little bit. Still a little hot though. Man, this is my first time wearing these jeans since I started Ironman training 5 months ago, and they barely fit. That should show you how much my legs have grown. So I've decided to go hit up my old church here in Las Vegas since it is Sunday morning. When I lived here though, I'd always go to the 4 o'clock Saturday service, and honestly that was my plan yesterday, but then I realized there's no way I'm going to be able to check in, shower, get changed and everything and get there by 4 o'clock, so I had to call an audible. Damn it, I forgot to pack a belt. I told you, there's something I always forget. Not a bad view while you wait for the elevator. You can see Red Rock Canyon and the Red Rock Casino. You can see Lone Mountain out there.
Going down.
Obligatory entering the elevator shot. Alright, my car didn't get broken into or the windows smashed out. But honestly, you think Las Vegas casino parking lots would be pretty safe from that with all the cameras and security. Like when I was getting ready to bike yesterday, there was the security truck at Suncoast just circling the lot. It's also nice to not have all this crap and clutter in my car. I pretty much just transferred all that clutter up into the condo. It's drawn out all over the floor and everywhere with no rhyme or reason, so when I get back, I'm gonna organize. I want it to be organized for the week. Alright, that's a really creepy license plate and license plate frame. How much you want to bet the person driving that car is some guy who, let's just say, gets off to Betty Boop? That's sad. That's very sad. I'm pretty sure they're closing, yeah, they closed Texas Station down. They closed Texas Station, Fiesta Henderson. Kind of sad, right? And I think they closed this Fiesta up here as well. Empty. Completely empty. I think they just closed the other day, like Friday. The Friday I got here.
More and more of us see all this high tech. Big cover. Try eBay Motors, pal. Get the right part.
The strategy for church parking is to park as close to the exit as possible and not as close to the building as possible. Unless you like being stuck in parking lot traffic.
Find our way in that direction, okay? Make sure you grab your phone and shoot a text to somebody along the way.
Alright, let's go get this swim over with. Trust me, there's a million things I'd rather be doing today than having to go out to Lake Mead and swim 2 miles and then run for nearly 3 hours out in this heat. Trust me. But, to quote Vince McMahon, the show must go on. All right, thank you. No, thank you. I appreciate it though. Let's hope this is worth the 25 bucks. Man, that is a huge lake. I mean, compared to the lakes in Texas. This is actually my first time ever to come to Lake Mead. Even though I've lived in Las Vegas twice and have come here a lot, I've never actually been here before. Never had a reason to. Alright, this van is driving me absolutely nuts. Make up your mind. It keeps stopping and starting and stopping and starting, idiot. Alright, let's get this over with. Wonder if I'll find a dead body buried in a barrel somewhere. Alright, might as well get started.
Come in, Sylvia.
That sucked. So in reality, I definitely swam more than 2,500 yards. When I do open water swimming, I go by time instead of distance because GPS watches are notoriously inaccurate when it comes to open water swimming, because every time the watch goes underwater, the GPS signal gets lost. So if you look at this graph right here, so you see every time the graph like cuts off and it turns black and goes all the way down, every time that happens, it's not measuring distance. So even though I'm moving, it's not adding to the yardage total. And that happened a lot on the swim. So you can see my moving time was exactly 1 hour, but the total time was 1 hour, 10 minutes. So basically 10 minutes of my swimming was unmeasured, not adding yards. I'm not saying I swam at my pool pace, but I definitely swam more than 2,500. The reason I picked 70 minutes was because I did a very easy, very low effort 3,200 meter swim in the pool a few weeks ago, and it took me 1 hour, 10 minutes. So that's why I cut it off there. And so it was around that time my camera broke. So if you saw earlier in the video, I had a pink bag with me, and that is called a tow buoy. When you open water swim, you want to bring one with you because for many reasons. First of all, for safety, it drags behind you when you're swimming so boats can see you. It's also a flotation device if you need to stop in the middle of the water and grab onto it to float, to rest. And then also you can put stuff like keys, shoes, stuff like that in the bag as well. And I happened to bring my camera. Bad idea. I knew it was a bad idea, but I thought it would be fine in the bag. But the problem was, as I'm discussing right here, I'm recapping that open water swim I did in Lake Mead. The conditions of the water were horrible. It was very windy and very choppy. It was like swimming in rough seas. The waves were bad. It was the most difficult open water swim I've ever done, and still to this day I've done. Horrible conditions. It was like a hour and 10-minute battle the entire way. It was just ridiculous. And so because of that, water got into my tow buoy, and water got into the audio port of my poor camera, and the audio went out. But, I did not know that until I got back from the entire trip. So the rest of the video I took on this trip, which is most of the video I do, I had two cameras. I had my pocket camera, which is I did like 90% of my videos with that, and then my Sony A3, which I did about 10%. The Sony audio still worked, but the Osmo on my pocket camera audio did not, and unfortunately I have to narrate the rest of the videos in this series. But I did so many videos and stuff, I don't want to waste them, so I'm going to narrate them. So that's what I was doing right here. I was discussing the open water swim and how bad it was. And it was bad. It was bad. Anyway, I started heading back to my hotel because Sunday I would always do a long swim and a long run during my Ironman training. And I still had my long run to do. It was a 2 hour and 50-minute run. And that 2 hour, 50-minute run, I had to figure out where to do it, and thankfully I'll be able to explain it right here. So I decided to go to the Strip to run, and here's why. Although the last time I went to the Strip to run, back in April 2021, I got arrested and spent the whole weekend in jail. With that being said, the first benefit of going to the Strip to run is that it's flat, except for the stairs to get onto the pedestrian walkways, and second, I feel like the tall buildings will provide some shade. The downside is obviously the crowds. I just drove by there on the way back from Lake Mead, and there's more crowds than you would usually see on a Sunday afternoon, but hopefully they recede by the time I actually start running. Let's do this. So yeah, I went to one of the only places left on the strip that still have free parking, the Treasure Island parking garage. Unfortunately, most properties are still charging for parking, but literally that's what I'm talking about right here in my car. The last thing I wanted to do was go run. 2 hours and 50 minutes of running outside in that heat. It was over 100 degrees. And so what I did is I ran up and down the strip, and it was pretty hot at first. But, you know, as long as I was in the shade, it was fine, because there's no humidity there. So, you know, if you're in the shade, it wasn't bad at all. And so I sought out the shade. I ran along the west side of the strip in front of the shadows and everything. And right here, I'm talking about like just there's so many homeless people over the strip everywhere, like a lot more bums than when I lived there, for sure. But anyway, I just had to stay in the shadows, and the clouds did a great job as well. The clouds were the real MVP. It seemed like that cloud right there stayed there for like at least 30 minutes. It was awesome. Apart from that, though, I just stuck to the shade, and the run wasn't bad. It was an interesting run. Omega Mart, as you can see the sign right there, that's what I'm talking about right there. I wanted to go to Omega Mart, but I wasn't sure it was worth the $50, which is what I'm speculating right there. But yeah, just staying in the shade made the run very manageable. I wasn't trying to set any records. So Paris, I took this video right here because that was the crosswalk where I got arrested, and those are the bars they shoved me up against when they were arresting me right there. When I got arrested in April 2021, checking out the Mirage before they changed it to Hard Rock. I'm very sad that the Mirage is going away, one of my favorite properties. But yeah, just going up and down the strip, having to weave around pedestrians. It wasn't too bad, though. Sunday afternoon, it wasn't that bad. And then about 2 hours into the run, I was over by the West Gate. Still had about 45 minutes to go, and then the sun started going down, which made the end of the run pretty manageable. Nice sunset, obviously. Going by the Venetian, back to Treasure Island, where I just kind of looped around Treasure Island like 4 times at the end of the run. Which kind of got annoying, but I was just trying to finish. So I actually went slightly over 2 hours and 50 minutes, but I wanted to hit the 17-mile mark, which is what I did. And so I was done with the run, and then right there I'm probably speculating where I'm going to go eat for the night, but I already knew, but I was just talking about it. So right here, I'm driving to where I was going to eat for the night, and like every other American, like hot chicken has become one of my favorite things to eat, and that's where I was going. I was going to a place called Houston's Hot Chicken. I consider myself to be a connoisseur of hot chicken these days. I love hot chicken. Like I've gone to all the places here in DFW, and I have my like tier list of like the best and worst places. And so really what I'm looking for when it comes to hot chicken, 2 things: texture and flavor. I don't want it to be too crispy, but I don't want it to be too soggy either. I like it to be kind of gritty. And then flavor. You want the chicken to be able to stand alone without needing any sauce. That's my biggest issue with Raising Cane's, is that I feel like the chicken is so bland that you need the sauce. But anyway, I'm sitting right here saying this better be worth it, because it took about an hour for them to get my food out. They gave it to me for free because they got a huge Grubhub order, a DoorDash or something, and it just totally backed up the kitchen. So I got all my food for free. So I ordered the tenders, the sandwich, the chicken and waffles, and the cheesy chicken fries or whatever that were. And so here I am trying the tender because I felt like that was a good place to understand if it was good or not. So I dipped it in the sauce, took a bite, and in my opinion, based on that first bite, and from what I remember, you know, it's been about 2 months now, the texture was awesome, but the flavor wasn't quite there. It needed the sauce to really give it any flavor. So the texture was on point, like perfect texture, but just the flavor wasn't there because, anyway, they gave me a free red velvet milkshake as well for my troubles, which was awesome. And that red velvet milkshake was so thick I couldn't even get it through the straw. So I had to use a spoon, but that red velvet milkshake was excellent. Like, very good. And I got all that for free because I was there for like over an hour waiting for my food. You know, very hungry after running 17 miles and swimming 2 miles. But anyway, here I am recapping what I thought of Houston's Hot Chicken over by Green Valley Ranch in Henderson, Nevada. Like I said, the texture on point. But when it comes to flavor of hot chicken, what I'm really looking for, like I said, you don't want to need sauce. You want to be able to eat it without dipping it in anything. the flavor needs to carry it. And you want the perfect mixture of cayenne, the hot oil, salt, pepper, and of course the brown sugar. You want to taste that as well. And I just felt like the flavor wasn't quite there. But it's usually very rare for places to get both right. Usually most places either get the texture right and the flavor's not there, or they get the flavor but the texture's not right. This place is definitely more texture. I felt like the place was also a little bit overpriced for what you got, especially the portion size is a little bit smaller than what you'll get in places around here in Texas. Red Velvet Milkshake was good. Chicken and waffles, pretty unforgettable. The cheese fries, or otherwise known as the bird's nest at hot chicken places, forgettable. It was slightly above average, but mad props to them for giving it all to me for free and the free milkshake. So for that, I have to give them a thumbs up. But anyway, I was heading back to my hotel room to call it a night. Was very excited that I had no Ironman training the next day. It was a Sunday. Mondays were my off day. So anyway, that was Houston's Hot Chicken. And that's all I really have in terms of narrating this video. As the rest of the video, I'll be able to narrate with my Sony camera where the audio still worked. Man, I'm so excited for my off day tomorrow. It'll be nice to have a day that doesn't revolve around that. I'm so glad I didn't wait till it got dark to run. I'm such a genius, utilizing the shade. Because of that, it's only 10 o'clock. And I'll be able to get plenty of rest for my big day tomorrow. Even though I have no Ironman workouts tomorrow, I'm gonna try to cram a lot into tomorrow. It's gonna be a very active day. So I'm gonna get a good night's sleep, get up early, and prepare for the big day tomorrow. A lot to do in a little time. So with that being said, I will see you in the morning. Good night.